Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Let's get started. All right, today we're diving deep into Borealis Breads. It's by Jim Amaral and Cynthia Fenimore-Simons. It's got recipes, sure, but there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, absolutely. This isn't just a cookbook, right? Our mission today is really to track the story chronologically. It's this amazing journey.
Exactly. We're looking at how one baker, Jim Amaral, and his vision didn't just start a bakery, but kind of reshape sustainable grain farming in Maine. It's quite a story.
It really is. And Emerald sets the tone himself. He talks about baking being, transformative.
He does. He mentions wanting to yell, "No, don't stop baking," when people say they just buy his bread now instead of making their own.
Right. You get the sense immediately this is more than just selling loaves for him. It's a
Yeah,
passion.
totally. So let's start at the beginning. Where does this baker's story kick off?
Okay, so we go back to 1971, Concord, Massachusetts. Jim Amaral's a sophomore in high school.
And he's got this expensive habit,
A book-buying habit, as the book calls it. He needed money. So he gets a job.
washing pots right at the Sally Ann food shop.
Exactly. A little bakery conveniently near his favorite bookstore. And he stuck with it.
For 7 summers. Wow.
Yeah, right through college. It was a real apprenticeship, learning from these 3 bakers.
And they were all WWII Army veterans?
Yep. Taught him the ropes on yeast breads. Your basic white wheat deli rye, the classics.
But his interest went deeper than just technique, didn't it? He got into the science.
Oh, definitely. He was fascinated by fermentation. So much so that he actually pivoted for a while.
To winemaking.
Yeah, spent 5 years studying it, really immersing himself in, another kind of slow fermentation.
Interesting detour. But he came back to bread.
He did. Moved to Seattle while his wife, Dolores, was in midwifery school, and that's where things clicked again.
Grand Central Baking.
That's the place. He discovered hearth-baked artisan breads there. Techniques like long, slow fermentation.
Using things like poolishes.
Exactly. That's that sort of wet pre-ferment you let go for ages, builds amazing flavor. Stuff industrial baking just skips over.
Right. So that Seattle experience kind of fused his old school training with this new science-y fermentation knowledge.
Pretty much. And when they moved back to Maine in the early 90s, after a year baking for someone else,
He knew it was time.
time to open his own place.
Which brings us to Bodacious Breads, spring 1993, Waldoboro, Maine.
And talk about starting small. They were in this tiny basement, like 600, maybe 700 square feet, under the Pinecone Cafe.
Not exactly a state-of-the-art facility.
No. They started with a wood-fired oven. Then he actually bought 2 used pizza ovens.
And modified them.
Yeah, put in soapstone floors himself to make them work for hearth baking. Real ingenuity.
And the hours, brutal doesn't even cover it, sounds like.
17-hour days that first summer. He was literally sleeping on a cot in the corner of the bakery.
Well, the dough proofed, probably.
You bet. And Dolores, his wife, the midwife, she was doing deliveries.
The bread deliveries, that is, when she wasn't delivering babies.
Right. They joked her schedule was unreliable for obvious reasons, but it shows the all-hands-on-deck reality.
And that basement space.
Yeah.
It sounds intense. There's that anecdote.
Oh, yeah. About the heat, the low ceiling, the oven. It got so hot, apparently one woman baker just ended up working bare-breasted.
Wow. Just to cope with the heat. That paints a picture.
It really does. Tells you how tough those conditions were. And they grew fast.
They maxed out that space pretty quick.
Within 2 years, yeah. They were hitting like 300 breads a day. Just couldn't make any more down there.
So time to move up. Literally.
Right. They found a spot on Route 1, high visibility, right across from Moody's Diner, which is a main landmark.
And they painted the building bright yellow. No more hiding in the basement.
Nope. Go big or go home. And the investment. That was serious.
The oven.
The oven.
Yeah.
12 tons. Steam-injected deck oven imported from France.
$70,000. Back in the mid-90s.
$70,000. Installed by, and I love this description, an extraordinary little old French guy.
That's a commitment. That's not just scaling. That's defining your quality, your niche.
Absolutely. It was all about that European artisan style. Sourdoughs, hearth-baked, that perfect crust from the steam, that became their thing.
Okay, so things are looking up. New space, fancy French oven, and then trouble.
Yeah, about 3 years in, the name. Bodacious Breads.
Turns out someone else had a similar name.
A bakery in L.A. had trademarked Bodacious Buns, sent them a cease and desist.
Ouch. That could have been curtains.
Could have been, but they turned it around, made it into like a PR opportunity.
The contact.
Exactly. Held a public contest to rename the bakery. Prize was a year's supply of bread.
And people got into it.
Over 1,200 entries. Imagine that.
So who won? How did they become Borealis?
2 different customers suggested Borealis Breads, meaning from the north.
Which totally fit, being way up there in Maine.
Amaral loved it, and he said the whole thing generated a ton of great publicity. Crisis averted, and they got a great new name.
Smart move. But around this same time, he started thinking about something bigger, right? A deeper problem.
Yeah, the grain. Even back around 95, shortly after starting, he realized relying on flour shipped from who knows where wasn't sustainable or secure.
He wanted local Maine wheat.
He did. But when he asked suppliers, it was like, well, his quote is like asking for pick your own pineapples in Maine.
It just wasn't a thing. The infrastructure wasn't there.
Not at all. MOGA, the Maine Organic Farmers and Growers Association, they helped him find a couple of small farms, but...
Tiny quantities, right. An acre here, 3 acres there.
Exactly, not nearly enough. And it pointed to the real issue.
Which was?
The whole chain was broken. The holy trinity of bread, as they call it, the farmer, the miller, the baker.
You need all 3.
Right. You might have farmers willing to grow it and Amaral, the baker, ready to buy it. But who was going to mill it? That middle piece was just gone.
Decades of industrialization had wiped it out.
Pretty much. So Amaral realized, okay, if I want local grain, I'm going to have to help rebuild that bridge myself.
Which is a huge undertaking for a baker just trying to run his business.
Massive. But that's what leads into the next phase, the spark for the whole Maine grain renaissance.
He found a partner.
He connected with Matt Williams, a farmer, but also a cooperative extension educator up in Aroostook County, someone who got the vision.
And Williams was willing to take a big risk.
Huge risk. In 1998, he planted 32 acres of wheat specifically for Borealis. That was over half his farm.
Wow. Just based on Amaral's commitment to buy it.
Yeah.
But they still had the milling problem.
They did. The first solution was, well, creative. There was this trade agreement. Quirk.
They could ship it to Canada.
To Spearville Mill in New Brunswick, yeah. Amaral himself sometimes drove the grain across the border.
Seriously. He'd drive it up, wait for milling, drive the flour back.
That's the story. Can you imagine? The logistics, the time, just to get flour.
That's dedication. But clearly not a long-term solution.
Definitely not. And eventually, the Canadian mill started prioritizing Canadian grain, which makes sense.
Leaving Matt Williams with
a field full of wheat and no mill.
So what happened?
Williams basically said, okay, I'll build one. He created his own processing setup right there on his farm.
And founded Aurora Mills.
Aurora Mills. Named to complement Borealis Breads. He became the missing link. He rebuilt that infrastructure piece.
That's incredible. One farmer stepping up like that.
And it worked. It really, really worked. Remember those 32 acres in 98?
Yeah.
By 2000, it was 100 acres. By 2018, 400 acres dedicated to these grains.
400, what is that, like a 1,250% increase?
Something like that. Just staggering growth, all sparked by that initial baker-farmer partnership.
And that success must have rippled outwards.
Oh, absolutely. It proved there was a market. It fueled a much bigger movement. The Maine Grains Alliance got founded. The Kneading Conference started.
Bringing everyone together, farmers, millers, bakers, brewers.
Exactly. And led to amazing projects like renovating that old Somerset County jail.
Turning a jail into a grist mill.
Into the Somerset grist mill, yeah. Stone milling heritage grains. It's this amazing symbol of bringing back local food systems.
What a journey.
Yep.
Okay, before we wrap up, we should touch on the food itself in the book. The recipes.
Right. It's still a cookbook, after all. It features those original 5 breads from 1993.
The Italian, French peasant, olive. What else?
Portuguese corn and rosemary hazelnut, the foundational lineup.
And there's that olive bread story about the pitting.
Oh, yeah. Amaral apparently spent hours hand-pitting olives for every loaf in the early days, until he found a supplier for pre-pitted ones.
He called it a hallelujah moment.
I bet. But beyond those, the book really showcases Maine ingredients, the stuff he fought to get sourced locally.
Like the Maine Coast focaccia, using seaweed.
Dulse flakes, yeah. And Portuguese cornbread using heritage Flint cornmeal, real local flavor.
And steamed breads, too. That feels very New England.
Totally. Traditional brown bread, Abenaki Flint cornbread. They're like the original no-knead breads, leavened with baking soda, great for grains other than wheat.
And the book isn't just bread, is it? There are sides and spreads.
Yeah, lots of creative stuff there, too. Maple ketchup, lobster chèvre pâté, cashew pumpkin goat cheese spread, ginger wasabi maple syrup even.
Wow, okay. So plenty for the home cook to explore. And what about advice for bakers?
Amaral really emphasizes time. Great sourdough needs that long, slow fermentation, 18 to 36 hours.
No rushing it.
And precision. Measuring grams, control your dough temperature, details matter.
And that poke test for knowing when it's ready to bake.
Yeah, the poke test. Gently poke the dough. If the dent slowly springs back about halfway, you're good to go.
If it springs back fast, needs more time. If it stays indented or collapses.
You waited too long. Overproofed. Simple, but key.
So looking back at this whole deep dive, it's clear Borealis Breads is way more than recipes.
It's a case study, really. How one business, focused on quality and local sourcing, can genuinely transform a region's agriculture.
And that brings us to the big lesson Amaral learned from it all.
Yeah, that quote is powerful. He says, essentially, if you have a great local food stuff you love, something that's part of your life.
Don't let it disappear.
Exactly. Because, as he puts it, it takes 20 times the energy, money, and time to bring it back.
That really hits home and makes you think.
It does, and that's maybe the final thought for you listening. What local food tradition or ingredient do you rely on?
Something you might take for granted now.
Yeah. What should you be actively supporting or championing today so it doesn't vanish in the next 20 years? Food for thought.
Definitely. A powerful message to end on. Thanks for joining us. Subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge, spread the word.